My beloved child, it is time for you to pause for a moment amidst the whirlwinds of life and listen to the voice that is whispering within your soul. That voice does not come from a person, nor from a sudden circumstance, but from me, the one who created you, who has watched every step you've taken, even when you were unaware. There is a divine reason why you are reading these words now, and I want you to know this is neither a coincidence nor a random event. Everything has been orchestrated so that at this very moment, you may hear my voice clearly amidst the countless other sounds. The world is changing not just in economics, politics, or climate, but in a profound upheaval within the spiritual realm. What was once hidden is now being revealed. Truth and falsehood now stand side by side. Yet only those whose spiritual eyes have been opened can discern the light from the darkness that masquerades as light. Do you feel a quiet stirring within? A sense that something is shifting in the deep places of your soul? That is my voice. I am awakening your spirit so that you will no longer slumber through one of the most pivotal times in human history. For too long, you've been swept up in busyness, temporary goals, and the expectations others have placed on your shoulders. But now, I am calling you to lay aside every distraction, if only for a moment, and return to the quiet place within where I am waiting for you. Something of great significance is unfolding, and I need you to be awakened not with fear, but with a heart equipped with faith and discernment. I know what you've been through. There were days you thought you could not go on, long nights where you felt utterly alone, where your prayers seemed to disappear into silence. I saw it all. Not a single sigh escaped me. Not one tear fell without being remembered in my eternal memory. Even when you thought no one cared, I was there silent, patient, waiting for you to look into my eyes, because my gaze has never left you. My child, this is not the time to retreat or delay. Time is no longer as abundant as it once seemed. You can feel it, can't you? Something in the spiritual atmosphere is shifting. What once took years now accelerates in mere weeks or even days. Structures once thought stable are trembling. Beliefs once unquestioned are now under scrutiny. And in moments like these, I need you to open your eyes, not just your physical ones, but the eyes of your spirit to see what others cannot, to hear what others miss. No, I do not speak this to instill fear, but to prepare you, because when you are prepared, you will not be shaken. When your roots are deep in truth, no storm can uproot you. You must understand, I am not leading you into a new season merely to test you, but to lift you up and bring you into a maturity you have never known. You have asked me to use your life for divine purposes. Now, I am answering. Some of the prayers you thought were forgotten have merely been waiting for their appointed time. And, my child, that time is drawing near. But to step into fulfillment, you must be prepared not with impatience, but with understanding, not with hurried action, but with deep trust in my guidance. Do not measure my presence by your circumstances, for often, when everything around you grows quiet, that is when I am working the most powerfully. In the darkness, the seed of faith is germinating. In the wilderness, you learn to hear my still, small voice. And in trials, you come to know me not only as the miracle worker, but as the faithful friend who never leaves your side. I am preparing you for a deeper movement, a transformation that will not come from the outside, but from within, a renewal that will change the way you see life. the way you love others, and the way you live your faith. I am leading you to a place where you no longer just hear about me but experience me. No longer a borrowed faith, but a faith forged through your own journey with me. So, my beloved child, do not be afraid when everything around you begins to shift. Do not be discouraged when the things you once relied on begin to shake. I am not taking away. I am preparing you to receive something better. I do not leave you empty, but I make room for what is complete and unshakable to enter your life. Remember, everything that is happening is not outside of my control. I still hold all things in my hand, and that very hand is the place where you are safest. For I love you with an unshakable love, and I will never stop speaking to you, guiding you, lifting you up whenever your heart grows weary. My child, when the world outside becomes chaotic, it is not merely the result of human mistakes or social conditions. It is the echo of an invisible battle, a profound clash unfolding in realms unseen. What is breaking apart in the physical is a reflection of mighty movements in the spirit. And if you do not awaken to discern this, you will be swept away by waves of fear and confusion. Just like so many others who are spiraling without direction, this battle is not simply between good and evil. It is the collision of life and darkness, between heaven's will and the schemes of the enemy. That is why I am not calling you to be a spectator, but to enter the battle equipped and unwavering in spirit. Not everyone is chosen for such a time as this, but you are one of the few called to carry light into this encroaching darkness. You once believed what you were facing was merely a personal trial, but now I want to expand your vision. You are part of a greater plan, where every step you take may impact the destiny of those around you. You are no longer an isolated soul in a sea of people, but an essential part of a company being sent to rekindle hope, restore truth, and awaken hearts long asleep. Do not be surprised if you are opposed, misunderstood, or even rejected by those closest to you. That does not mean you are on the wrong path. It means the light within you is exposing shadows that others are not yet ready to face. In Scripture, even Jesus was rejected by his own, and the disciples were cast out of cities for speaking truth. If you are experiencing the same, though not lose heart. Conflict is not a sign of failure, but often the evidence that truth is piercing the deepest layers of the human conscience. I know there are moments you grow weary. You wonder whether your efforts truly make a difference. You long to see change, but instead, things seem to worsen. My beloved, remember, a tree does not spring up the same day the seed is sown. There is a season of silence, a sacred pause only the patient can endure. I ask you not to give up, for something is sprouting even now that your eyes have not yet seen. And know this, if the world is trembling, it is because it can no longer contain the weight of all the falsehoods it has harbored. I allow old systems to collapse, not to punish, but to make way for truth to be restored. Collapse is not the end, but the beginning of something new, pure, and unshakable. As it is written in Hebrews, once more I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens, Hebrews 12:26. And the purpose is that what is not eternal may fall away, so that what is unshakable will remain. Therefore, my beloved, if you feel you are living in a time of uncertainty, it is not a punishment, it is a sacred invitation. An invitation to step out of your comfort zone and embark on a journey of living faith like never before. This is no longer a time for shallow belief or routine religion. This is the time to go deeper, to live fully, and to stand firm upon the rock that no wind can topple. I am calling you to be a watchman on the wall, a soul who stands between the broken and the restored, one who intercedes through the night, who does not give up before seeing the breakthrough. Do not measure your strength by what you hold in your hands. Do not gauge the worth of your prayers by your present circumstances. In the spirit realm, even your whisper can shake the gates of life. I am listening, and none of your words fall to the ground without power. In the days ahead, you will see this more clearly. Everything is being purified. What is false will be revealed. What has been hidden will be brought into the light. And in that moment, you will see the priceless worth of standing in truth. Let your life be a compass to those who are lost, not by your perfection, but by the light you carry within, a light that does not originate from you, but from me, the one who breathed eternity into your soul. Believe this, you are not alone. Even if your surroundings seem desolate, even if it seems no one walks the same path, I am still at work. I am raising up a quiet army, not loud, not boastful, but powerful in simplicity, steadfastness, and obedience. And you are a part of it, not by chance, but by divine design. My child, if you hear my voice today, do not harden your heart. Open the door within your spirit and let me in. For I come not only to comfort, but to lead, not only to heal, but to commission. The path ahead will not be easy, but the glory it brings will surpass all you could ever imagine. For eye has not seen, ear has not heard, and the heart has not conceived what I have prepared for those who love me. My beloved child, as the days of calm recede and a great wave of seasonal transition approaches, I need you to understand that you are not a bystander. You are not a passive observer, nor are you merely one shielded from the turbulence of the times. You are one who has been called. That means there is a purpose uniquely assigned to you, one that was ordained before the foundations of the world. And now, everything is converging toward the moment when that purpose begins to manifest clearly in your life. I know the idea of being chosen can feel overwhelming. You may look at yourself and see nothing but flaws. You may list your failures, your moments of weakness, and wonder why I would choose you among so many others. But, my child, it is precisely because you are not perfect that I have chosen you. For I do not seek the strong by worldly standards. I use the weak to confound the strong. I use the despised to reveal my glory. As it is written, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts, Zechariah 4-6. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need a willing heart. Throughout the history of the Spirit, I have chosen the seemingly insignificant, a shepherd like David, an unknown young woman like Mary, an unlearned fisherman like Peter. I did not choose them because they stood out. I chose them because they obeyed, and it was their obedience that opened the door for my power to be revealed. Now, I am searching this generation for hearts like that, souls who are no longer driven by the desire for fame, but by the hunger to please me. Those who are not ruled by status or power, but live for the sacred purpose for which they were born. And you, my child, are one of them. Do not let the voice of doubt blur that truth. Do not let memories of past failures block your new steps forward. Your past does not define you. My word over you is what holds final authority. On the road ahead, You will need steadfastness, not because everything will go smoothly, but because you will be equipped from within. Each day, let me be your refuge, your strength, your source of life, not through religious ritual, but through a living, breathing, personal relationship. I desire to walk with you in every moment, not only in times of prayer, but in your work, your silent reflections, and your weariness. I am there. And if you know how to turn your heart toward me, you will realize not a single moment is wasted. For every moment can become sacred space when you invite me in. You must know that obedience is not always easy. Sometimes it requires you to let go of the familiar, to step out of your comfort zone, or to go against the crowd. But in that very surrender, you will find a deeper freedom. Freedom from the expectations of others, freedom from the fear of outcomes, and freedom from the pressure to control everything. I do not need you to do everything. I only ask you to do your part in obedience, and I will take care of the rest. There will be times you feel alone, not because you are abandoned, but because the path to fullness is rarely crowded. But remember, in that solitude, I speak most clearly. In the silence, you will learn to listen not only with your ears, but with your soul. And in those moments that seem quietest, I am deepening your roots to prepare you for a harvest beyond your imagination. Do not let the silence cause you to doubt. Do not let delays cause you to grow weary. While you are waiting, I am working. Great things are not built in haste. Sacred things do not yield to human schedules. For I am the one who knows perfect timing, and I will never be late to those who wait in faith. You are a bearer of great responsibility, but also a recipient of great strength. You are not abandoned on the battlefield. I have placed within you all that is needed to finish the race. Walk each day with unwavering trust. Do what is right, even when no one is watching. Keep your heart pure, even as the world around you is steeped in falsehood. Speak the truth, even when it costs you. For every small act contributes to a greater tapestry. I am weaving a tapestry of redemption, renewal, and eternal glory. So, my beloved child, hold tightly to my hand. Do not let what your eyes see cause you to forget what I have spoken. Remember, I did not call you to abandon you halfway. I called you because I see in you what you have never seen in yourself, and I will continue working in you until the day of completion. My child, while the world outside trembles with crisis after crisis, most people will attempt to explain everything through logic, statistics, and systems of reasoning. But I want you to see deeper beyond the veil of events, to perceive the essence of what is unfolding. Not everything is the product of randomness, and not every occurrence is driven by visible forces. There is a deeper current moving beneath the surface, a clash in the unseen realm that few recognize. The material world is not the center, but merely the fringe of a conflict that is quietly escalating. Humanity races to seize control of resources, information, and power. But these battles are but surface reflections of a deeper war, a battle between light and darkness, between truth and deception, between the will of the Creator and the schemes of powers that seek to destroy what is good. And you, my called one, cannot stand on the sidelines of this war. There are tremors in the spirit realm that the natural eye cannot see, but a spiritually awakened heart can feel. In moments when you do not understand why your soul feels heavy, why unease lingers despite no clear cause, know this: These are not random emotions. They are spiritual alarms sounding within you, calling you into position, into the place you were appointed for long ago. They are signs that the world is approaching a turning point, and those who carry the light must be alert. You cannot wait for complete clarity before you act. If you wait until you understand everything, you will always be a step behind what I am doing. That is why I teach you to walk by faith, not by sight. For while many chase after what is visible, I work in the stillness in the places easily overlooked. I plant hope in the wilderness. I spark life in the lands labeled barren. But to see these things, your spiritual eyes must be trained to discern. Do not think the events unfolding are mere coincidence. Every political upheaval, every wave of social unrest, every prolonged conflict among nations, all are preparing the way for a new era where all things will be brought into the light. What was hidden will no longer remain concealed. What was once accepted as normal will be challenged, and those who live in falsehood will no longer find shelter behind religion or moral facade. In this season, I am shaking every system from education to economy, from culture to the church, not to destroy, but to sift. I am separating the wheat from the chaff. What is not built on solid foundation will be shaken. What has survived only out of habit will be disturbed. This is not for punishment, but for purification. I do not want my people to live on a fragile, counterfeit faith that collapses when the winds shift. I want them to stand like towers unshakable, because their foundation is the rock. You will see, in days to come, some who seem strong will fall, and others, overlooked and forgotten, will rise. I will reverse what the world considers fixed. I will use the nameless to accomplish great works. I will raise up those once rejected, wounded, and cast aside. For I look at the heart, not at appearances. But, my child, this change will not come in tranquility. It will arrive with disruption, even breaking. For sometimes, the old must fully fall away for the new to be born. Just as a tree must be pruned to bear more fruit, just as soil must be tilled to receive seed, I am using these events to prepare the soil of humanity's heart. No one can enter a new season while clinging to old patterns. No one can receive what is from heaven while gripping what is of the earth. So be ready. Do not fear the shaking. Do not resist the changes. If I allow something to fall from your hands, it is so your hands may be freed to receive something greater. If I shake the environment around you, it is so you will no longer rely on fragile supports. I want you to learn to walk not by convenience, but by inner conviction. I want you to know that when you lose all that is earthly, you still have me, and that is enough. Etch this upon your heart. I do not shake to destroy, but to awaken. I do not tear down to ruin, but to rebuild. Every quake of the earth is a reminder not to build your house on sand. Every upheaval is a call for the soul to return to the unshakable foundation, which is me, the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Do not let your heart be troubled when the world begins to crack and fall apart. Remember, you were not called to be swept away, but to stand firm, not to hide in fear, but to rise in the authority of one who knows to whom they belong. In the storm of the times, you will be an anchor for others. In the darkened days, you will be a small light guiding the lost home. My beloved child, I will not hide this from you. The road ahead will not be a smooth path strewn with roses. Yet it is precisely in those twists, narrow ways, and dark valleys that I will lead you into a deeper understanding, both of yourself and of the one in whom you have placed your complete trust. The days to come will be times of discernment, where truth and deception can no longer hide beneath layers of eloquent speech or the outward guise of religion. Everything will be tested by fire. Just as gold is refined in the furnace, so too will your faith undergo the trial of fire. But do not be afraid, for nothing will be consumed except that which no longer needs to remain. I allow the shaking not to destroy you, but to remove the old shell, the false masks, the burdens you've grown weary of carrying for too long. I want you to be free, and sometimes freedom comes through breaking. In this season, many voices will rise. Some will speak the truth, but many will utter half-truths, using sweet words to lull my children into comfort, encouraging them to settle into lukewarm living and shallow belief. You must be careful. Do not believe everything you hear, but test each voice through the wisdom that comes from the Spirit of truth. As it is written, test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world, 1 John 4:1. Deception does not always wear a wicked face. It may come cloaked in light. Speak with kindness, and present reasons that sound entirely logical, but that does not make it truth. You must learn to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit within you, for only He can distinguish between what is right and what merely seems right. And I want you to practice this daily in even the smallest of decisions, so that when faced with greater things, your soul will not be shaken. You will also see those who once walked alongside you begin to take other paths. Some will choose comfort over truth. Some will compromise to preserve their status in the world. Some will ignore the prompting of my Spirit because they are unwilling to surrender control. Do not blame them, but do not follow them either. Each one has their own journey. And I am calling you to walk a narrow way, not the popular one, but the one that leads to abundant life. Your calling is to live beyond mediocrity, not because you are better than others, but because I have placed within you a portion of the burden for the harvest that is coming. I need those who not only speak the word but live it. I need those who can keep their hearts pure, even when all moral values around them are collapsing. I need those who stand firm not because they are perfect, but because they do not quit. Do not underestimate the impact of your life. One word spoken in someone's despair can rescue a soul from darkness. One small act of kindness in a cold season can become the only flame in someone's long night. I do not require grand gestures to gain my attention. I only ask for your faithfulness in what I have entrusted to you, one day at a time. In this season of transition, I will begin to open new doors that were once shut, but not every door that opens is from me. Some opportunities will come to test your heart. Some paths may appear good, even favorable, but they lead you away from your true purpose. You must always ask, is the Lord in this? And only when you sense deep peace from the Spirit should you step forward. Likewise, some doors will close not because you failed, but because I am guiding you in a different direction. Do not cling so tightly to the old season that you resist entering the new. Trust that if I close a door, I am also opening something better, or shielding you from what you cannot yet see. I am the one who sees the end from the beginning, and nothing escapes my divine providence. This season is not only one of purification but of planting. What you sow today will become the harvest of tomorrow. If you sow prayers, you will reap heavenly intervention. If you sow forgiveness, you will reap healing. If you sow faithfulness, you will reap doors opening in my perfect timing. Do not grow weary in sowing, for in due season you will reap if you do not give up. My child, time is accelerating. What once took years will now be fulfilled in months. Even weeks. I am moving swiftly in the hearts of those who are ready. I am accelerating spiritual growth and hastening inward transformation. For the harvest is near, and those trained in hidden places will be sent out in the light. If you find yourself in a quiet, hidden place, rejoice, for it means I am preparing you for what no eye has seen, no ear has heard. Do not measure your progress by the world's standards. Do not compare your journey to another's. You are a unique part of my grand design, and I am weaving wonder through every seemingly small detail. Do not stop just because you don't see results. Do not retreat because you feel you are moving too slowly. Keep your faith firm, for the time of my action is very near. My child, the times you are living in are unlike ordinary seasons of history. This is a moment marked by prophetic movements, where old eras are ending, and a new heavenly agenda is being established. In moments like these, I do not seek outward brilliance, I seek inward loyalty. I do not need those who know much, I need hearts that listen. And you, my child, are part of heaven's response to this generation. I am calling you not to remain still, but to take your place. That place may not be a formal title or a specific location. It is the place where you are planted, where you live out your entrusted mission, where your soul moves in rhythm with the whisper of the Spirit, and your hands are ready to act when prompted. You may be a mother, a worker, someone unnoticed by the world, but if you are in your appointed place within my will, you can shake the heavens. Like watchmen in the night, you are positioned to warn, to intercede, to uphold truth, and to be an unhidden light. Do not worry whether others see your work. Do not seek applause or recognition. What you do in secret has deep impact in the spirit realm. A persiste prière, a selfless act of love, a moment of forgiveness. When wronged, each becomes a seed capable of breaking the grip of darkness. Sometimes, the hardest thing is not action, but waiting. There are seasons where I ask you to stand still in the shadows, not because you lack value, but because I am refining your patience. I am teaching you how to live unshaken by circumstance. You cannot lead others unless you've first learned to stand, and you cannot guide others through their night unless you've walked through one with eyes of faith. Those who go ahead often see the darkness more clearly than those who follow. But that is not a punishment, it is a privilege. You are shown first to prepare. You are awakened first to awaken others. Like the prophets of old, they were not always loved, but they carried messages a generation needed to hear. I do not need you to please the crowd. I need you to be honest with the voice within. And I know there will be moments when you feel too small for the assignment. But remember this, my greatest works have always begun with humble beginnings. A small seed, planted at the right time, can grow into a forest. A timely declaration, spoken under my leading, can shift the destiny of a family, a community, even a city. You don't need to do everything. You only need to do what I send you to do. The world is searching for grand solutions. People build complex systems, devise national strategies, place their hope in technological advancement. Yet I am searching for those willing to kneel, to humble themselves, so that I might raise them up as unshakable pillars. I am looking for those who live by principle, not by trend, those who do not trade their soul's value for short-term ease. People like you, my child. I also want you to remember, the fire within you was not ignited by your own hand. It comes from me, and I alone will sustain it. As long as you nurture it through daily connection, pour in fresh oil each day through prayer, reflection, and tender openness before my presence. Do not let that flame be quenched by distraction, exhaustion, or the doubting voices around you. Guard it as one guards fire in the coldest winter, for from your flame, many will find warmth and light. And don't let loneliness deceive you into thinking you are on the wrong path. In Scripture, those I used most powerfully often endured long seasons of isolation. Moses had his wilderness. David had his cave. Jeremiah was chained for telling the truth. But it was in those seemingly barren places that I shaped and sent them. If you are in a hidden season, know that it is not an end, it is preparation. I want you to be assured, no act of faithfulness is ever in vain. Everything you do in my name, however small, is remembered. Every word of encouragement, every decision to keep your heart pure, is building a current more powerful than any storm. And in my appointed time, that current will surge forth with light, strength, and influence no force can withstand. So, child of light, remain where I have placed you. Do not abandon your post just because you don't see immediate results. Do not give up simply because you haven't been noticed. Know that I am at work even when you see nothing. And when the moment comes, I will reveal my glory through your quiet, steadfast faithfulness. For in my kingdom, those who are faithful in little will be entrusted with much. And the reward for a faithful watchman is not the applause of men, but the delight of the one who called you. My beloved child, amidst all that I have revealed to you about the shaking that is taking place, I now desire to bring you into a deeper dimension, one in which the true purpose behind these events is unveiled. For every wind does not merely stir, but sifts, and every flame does not merely illuminate, but refines. And you, chosen soul, are stepping into a season divinely appointed to purify your spirit. Like gold passed through the furnace, many long for restoration, for breakthrough, for wonders from heaven. Yet few understand that before the harvest season, there must come the season of pruning. No one can bear much fruit while still clinging to branches that have withered. Just as a well-tended vine must be pruned of what no longer bears, so must your soul. I love you too much to let you live burdened with excess. Even if that excess once served a purpose in a previous season, refinement is rarely comfortable. At times, it comes in the form of loss, of sudden change, of things you did not expect. Yet these very things are my instruments to remove from you what no longer fits the journey ahead. Not all that is taken is failure. Some things are removed because I am preparing you for something greater, purer, and more aligned with heaven's direction. Like a skilled jeweler who never leaves gold in the fire longer than necessary, I will not leave you in this season beyond what is needed, but I will not draw you out until my image is clearly reflected in your life. I know you have prayed, asking me to use your life. You have said, "Let your will be done, not mine." And now, that prayer is being answered. Yida teams. The answer comes in the form of shedding old expectations, dependencies on the opinions of others, and even dreams that were once right for a previous time. Do not be quick to call it rejection. Call it a realignment born of love. For my love is not indulgent, it is training, that you may become more like me. There will be those around you who will not understand why you are changing. They may accuse you of no longer being who you used to be. But, my child, how could you remain the same when I am at work within you? How can you stay unchanged when my light is expanding within your spirit? Demanding the release of all that no longer aligns, do not strive to please everyone. Do not cling to connections that remain only out of history, but no longer carry life. It is not because you despise them, it is because I am elevating you to a higher realm, where not everyone is willing to follow. This refining is not only occurring in your circumstances, but in your heart. I am placing my finger upon hidden attitudes, buried motives, dark corners you've long lived with, but never truly faced. Not to condemn, but to liberate, for I desire not just that you do what is right, but that you do it with the right spirit. Not only acts of righteousness, but a heart purified. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5-8. And I long for you to see me more clearly than ever before. In this season, you may feel that I am silent, but do not mistake silence for absence. Just as a teacher remains quiet during the test, I am watching every response of your heart, not to score you, but to reveal what within you needs strengthening. Your responses in this refining season will reveal where your heart truly stands. When pressed, what overflows? When things don't go your way, what remains of your faith? This is the season where I am revealing to you that faithfulness is not dependent on comfort. Many believe when goodness abounds, but I am seeking those who believe even without seeing miracles, who remain faithful even without an answer. Not because they need evidence, but because they know I do not change. That is the kind of faith that shakes the heavens. So, my child, open your heart fully in this season. Do not harden it when correction comes. Do not justify yourself when I point out what needs adjustment. Do not defend what I am trying to transform. If you release it, I will move swiftly. If you yield, I will restore. If you allow me to shape you, I will use you as a sharp instrument in my hand. And know this, you are not walking this journey alone. Others are undergoing a similar refining. They may be quiet, hidden from view, but they are being reshaped in the secret place. They are warriors being trained in the dark, so they may stand in the light. Pray for them, and pray that your own heart remains tender, never bitter, never closed off. In the end, you will see. What I am doing today in silence will become the foundation for a season of abundant spiritual fruit. Every day you choose obedience, no matter how small, is a step closer to the greater outworking of my purposes. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, patience over reaction, love over suspicion, you are paving the way for me to move powerfully through your life. The refining journey you are walking through is neither accidental nor a consequence of failure. It is part of a meticulously designed, intentional process by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. The pain you feel is not from abandonment, it is the evidence of my hand at work. And when I work, everything is reshaped, not only your outward circumstances, but your faith and your view of the world. Some things you once trusted are now being tested. Old frameworks, once unshakable, are beginning to crack. Do not conclude that your faith is collapsing. Rather, it is being exchanged, swapped from a man-made foundation to a revelation born from heaven. I do not want you to live by what others have told you, but by what you have personally encountered in communion with me. There is a vast difference between hearing about me and knowing me. As Job once cried out after his trial, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Job 42:5. I long to bring you to the place where you no longer rely on borrowed understanding, but live from the direct life that flows from me. This requires breaking away from complacency, from the barriers built by fear, unhealed wounds, and wrong perceptions of who I am. In this season, I am doing a work within before you will see the fruit without. Just as a gardener does not expect ripe fruit before the roots are firm, I will not rush you into success before you are proven in obedience and humility. I care not only about what you do for me, but who you are within. That is the place where I long to dwell, in a heart undivided. My child, do not fear when you feel like you're no longer in control. In truth, it is in surrender that you step into true spiritual freedom. When you stop striving to control everything around you, you will see that my hand has always held it all. And that is the beginning of a life of unshakable trust, a life not tossed by external chaos, but anchored in the unwavering faithfulness of the one who does not change. You will also find that in this season, my silence becomes more precious than loud promises. For in the quiet, you learn the art of presence, not to receive something, but simply to be with me. There are moments when I say nothing, but my presence becomes so, then say. No words are needed, and if you learn to dwell there, your soul will be saturated with a peace that no one can take from you. From that stillness, I will begin to redefine purpose in your life. Not short-term goals or personal ambitions, but a partnership with eternal plans. You will realize that what I give is not merely to meet your need, but so that you might become a vessel to many. The healing you receive will become rivers of healing to others. The faith you've held in the night will become a beacon for those lost in the dark. Yet you must choose this intentionally. No one is pushed into spiritual depth. It is a decision, a choice to reject the easy way, to stop living by emotion, to move forward even when the path is unclear. And that choice must be made daily, hourly, moment by moment, especially when you are tempted to return to the familiar, to what hurts less. I am calling you out of shallow waters safe, yet limiting into the deep, where it is more dangerous, but where my power will be revealed without limit. You will never see my extraordinary provision if you always choose the predictable path. You will never experience miracles if you stay within the boundaries of understanding. I have not called you to live safely, but to live boldly, not because you are strong, but because you know the one who is with you. In this process, I will also show you what truly matters. You may have to lay down things that were once important but have become burdensome. Titles, positions, the approval of others. These will fade in the light of my calling. You will begin to see that nothing is more precious than living in alignment with the original intent I placed within you from the beginning of creation. And know this, my child, what I am doing in you is not just for you. I am preparing you for those you are called to impact. There are souls thirsting for what you are about to carry. There are people praying, not knowing that their answer lies in your obedience today. You are the response to a spiritual need you have yet to comprehend. So keep walking forward, even if your steps are slow, as long as they are toward me. You are drawing closer to the new season. Keep your heart tender, so I may shape it, guide it, and breathe new life into the places that once were dry. For once I have begun a good work in you. I will not abandon it, I will bring it to completion. See Philippians 1-6. Beloved child, when a person has passed through the furnace of refinement, what remains is not only endurance, but a new nature, one that the world cannot give and cannot take away. It is a strength that comes from within, untethered to circumstances, unmoved by praise or criticism, and unblemished by time. This is the kind of strength I am building in you, a strength that is born from deep, abiding union with me. You may not realize it, but through each layer of testing, your heart is being shaped. Old thought patterns are giving way to heavenly principles. Instead of reacting impulsively, you are learning to pause and listen. Instead of fighting back instinctively, you are learning to pray before acting. And instead of fearing being misunderstood, you are beginning to seek validation from me, not from the eyes of others. These are the signs that you are growing in spiritual maturity. Those who have known the fire carry a distinct light, not the blinding glare of knowledge, but the warm glow of a soul transformed. People like this do not need to declare their holiness. Their mere presence speaks of a difference. That is why I am working in you quietly, but with intention. I do not need you to impress. I need you to become a dwelling place for my presence. There will come a day when the things you are experiencing now will become encouragement for others. When you encounter someone in despair, you will not speak to them from theory, but from lived experience. You will comfort not just with words, but with genuine empathy formed through your own journey. And this is what the world needs, not more words, but living witnesses, those who have walked through fire and come out with integrity intact. And you will see that it is in the difficult moments that you learn to love more deeply. You will love not because others deserve it, but because you understand you too were loved when undeserving. You will forgive not because apologies were made, but because you know the burden of bitterness is one you no longer wish to carry. You will become gentle without becoming weak, steadfast without becoming harsh, truthful yet still compassionate. This is the mark of a soul refined by fire, but not consumed. I will also show you that when you live authentically, you will draw in souls who are longing for what is real. You do not need to try to display your faith, because faith in you will naturally show through the way you live. Speak and respond. Every time you choose patience over anger, silence over argument, trust over anxiety, you are declaring, "My kingdom," quietly, yet powerfully. I know there are moments you ask, is this inner transformation worth it when the outside seems unchanged? But my child, what is inside always precedes what is outside. Like a seed planted in the soil, it must break open and send roots downward before new life springs forth above the surface. If you remain faithful in the small things, I will entrust you with greater ones. If you keep your heart pure in hidden places, I will use you publicly in powerful ways. Remember, what I am teaching you in this season is not just for you. It is to prepare you for what I have appointed ahead. Those who follow you will not need someone perfect, but someone real. They will need someone who has suffered, wept, stumbled, risen, and can point the way with hands that have bled. And you will be that person, not because you are strong, but because I have done a strong work in you, my child. When I complete this refining season, you will not merely survive, you will rise. Not in a surface way, but in a deep spiritual sense. You will see through my eyes. You will love what I love. You will hate what I hate. And you will walk no longer driven by circumstances, but led by my Spirit. And you will also see this. It is precisely when you no longer have anything to prove that I will use you most. For when you no longer seek recognition, I will place you where your influence flows naturally, without striving. When you seek only my pleasure, every necessary door will open. No need for struggle. No need for calculation. For what I open, no one can shut. And what I shut, no one can open. So do not despise this season, though it hurts, though it feels empty, though it tempts you to quit. It is the most necessary part of your spiritual journey. If you remain faithful, you will enter a new season, not just with expectation, but with a new nature, a nature that loves more deeply, understands more fully, lives more powerfully, and reflects my image more clearly than ever before. Beloved, I am still at work, even when you hear nothing, even when you see no immediate results. I am not idle. And when I am finished, you will no longer be the same, not because you tried to change, but because you have been transformed. Beloved child, while your soul is being shaped in silence, the world around you is entering into chaos faster than ever before. The greatest danger is not the coming storm, but the confusion infiltrating every level of society where black and white are being reversed, where lies are dressed as truth, and where light is labeled as darkness. In such times, I do not merely want you to survive, I want you to stay awake. The world is entering an age where speech has never been smoother, yet hearts have never been more hollow. Ideas are everywhere. Opinions claim the name of love while denying the truth. What was once called perverse is now applauded. What was sacred is mocked. What is unchanging is now labeled outdated and rigid. This is not progress, my child. It is decay in modern clothing. This is not the first time humanity has entered such a season. In Scripture, there was a time when everyone did what was right in their own eyes, Judges 21:25. But what is different now is that deception has reached unprecedented sophistication. It does not only come from public voices, it creeps through networks of information, into books, films, and even pulpits once known for truth. That is why discernment has become one of the most vital tools you must carry daily. Discernment is not suspicion. It is the ability to distinguish between what comes from the Spirit of truth and what comes from unclean sources, even when they appear alike. It is spiritual sensitivity sharpened in the secret place, where your soul learns to hear the whisper above the noise. Discernment does not come from intelligence, but from intimacy with me. And only when you hold my word as your absolute standard will you be able to stand when the winds of worldly knowledge blow against you. I want you to understand this. Truth does not change, even if no one agrees with it. Light remains light, even if the majority turns their back on it. If you live to please public opinion, you will never stand in the place of a guardian of truth. But if you are willing to be misunderstood to remain true before me, you will become like a strong tree in the desert, unshaken by wind, unwithered in drought. Truth may not always be attractive. It may not be easy to hear, but it is the only thing that can set the human soul free from the chains of deception. I am not calling you to win arguments. I am calling you to live clearly, consistently, and uncompromisingly in any setting. Your life, not just your words, will be the proof to others that there is still another way, still a firm standard in a shifting land. In the days to come, you will see many begin to redefine faith. They will retain the name, keep the rituals, but abandon the essence. They will speak of God but refuse to obey Him. They will talk of love while cutting out holiness. Do not be deceived. A faith without surrender is no longer true faith. A life without repentance cannot be called redeemed. And a system without the Spirit is just a corpse dressed in sound and light. Do not let mercy be mistaken for tolerance of sin. Do not let compassion be confused with compromise. Learn to speak the truth in love, but also understand that love is not silent in the face of wrong. Like a trumpet sounding the alarm, you are appointed to watch, not to please, but to warn. And if you remain silent when I urge you to speak, the blood of many will no longer be solely their responsibility. It will be something I will question you about. I know this is not easy. You will be criticized, misunderstood, even pushed aside. But remember, the true prophets of old experienced the same. I am not calling you to walk the path most traveled. I am calling you to the narrow road, not because I desire your suffering, but because the narrow way leads to life not only for you, but for those you will influence. If you guard your heart and keep your eyes on me, I will help you stand firm in the storm. When all values are overturned, I will place in your soul a foundation that cannot be shaken. And even if you do not always see the results immediately, I assure you, the seeds of truth you sow today will bear fruit in due time. Perhaps not in applause, but in hearts quietly transformed, and that has eternal worth. So, my chosen one, do not compromise. Do not water down my word for the sake of comfort. Do not trade truth for approval. You are not sent to blend in, but to preserve, not to go with the flow, but to be salt and light in a world that has lost its way. My beloved child, as the world sinks deeper into a whirlwind of chaos and deception, the need for those who stand firm in truth becomes ever more urgent. Not all truth sets free. Only the truth that comes from me, truth that is undiluted, unbent to fit culture, and unaltered to please the ears of men, can break the chains of imprisoned souls. And you, whom I have appointed for this generation, are called to carry that unwavering light. Do not think that preserving truth is a task reserved for scholars, pastors, or those with titles in the faith community. Truth is the tool of all who belong to me. No matter where you live, what profession you hold, or what role you play in society, if you carry me in your heart, you carry truth. And if you carry truth, you carry responsibility. For when light is lit, no one hides it under a basket, but places it on a stand to give light to everyone in the house. cff.org. Matthew 5:15. I know there are moments when you want to remain silent. You feel pressure, fear criticism, fear losing acceptance. I understand, but I also want you to know this: the silence of the righteous, in an age flooded with lies, is no longer neutrality. It becomes a silent rejection of truth. To not stand with the light is to allow darkness to gain ground. To not speak when needed is to become complicit in wrongdoing through indifference. However, I do not call you to be an attacker. I do not teach you to throw stones at others. I call you to live in the world as a gentle but unshakable light, as salt that adds flavor without losing its substance. You do not need to shout to be heard. Your very presence, aligned with me, begins to shake the spiritual atmosphere around you. One who carries truth must be prepared to be misunderstood, even rejected. You cannot bear witness to a truth that confronts darkness and still expect universal approval. Jesus said, "Woe to you when everyone speaks well of you." Luke 6:26. This means that if you live rightly, there will be times you are opposed. And if no one is ever unsettled by your presence, it may be that you are living too comfortably. Therefore, I want you to learn how to face tension without losing kindness. Be courageous without being harsh. Be steadfast without arrogance. Love truly, but never accept what is wrong for the sake of peace. If you are the first to say no when everyone else says yes, you will become a forerunner. And forerunners do not live for comfort, they live to set an example. You may not receive a reward immediately. You may not be praised, perhaps even excluded. But I promise you this: I see, I remember, and not a single act of courage done for me will be forgotten. If even a cup of cold water given in faith does not go unrewarded, how much more your steadfastness amid rising apostasy? I also want you to realize, holding to truth is not merely defending what is right, but building a life that reflects it. If you say, "I am life," then how you treat others must bring life. If you proclaim me as light, then your attitudes, motives, and reactions must be clear and pure. No one believes in a lamp whose light is dim, nor will anyone follow a path led by someone who walks in circles of doubt and contradiction. Don't strive to be influential. Just live rightly. It is faithfulness, endurance, and commitment to unshakable values that create real influence. In a rapidly changing world, unceasing, unmoved by public opinion, becomes a powerful symbol. And you, if you are willing to pay the price, will become such a witness. My child, remember that truth does not need you to protect it like a fragile shield. Truth is a sword. It can defend itself. What I require from you is not fury, but resolve. I do not want you to fight like one who has no aim, but like one who understands that the true battlefield is not against people, but against ideas, systems, and spiritual strongholds. And victory does not come from being louder, but from standing firmer. Each day, as you wake, choose to clothe yourself in clarity. Let my word be the standard by which you measure everything you take in. Pray for a mind not swayed by emotion. Let my spirit guide you into all truth, not the tides of trending opinions that rise and fall like the sea. When you live by that guidance, you will not only preserve yourself from deception, but become a signpost for lost souls seeking the way. The world desperately needs those who hold to truth with unwavering conviction but without extremism, with mercy but not blindness, with stability and still humility. And you, if you choose to remain faithful to the voice within, will be my living instrument to restore what has been lost in this generation. Beloved, as the last days draw near, the pressures you face will not only come from public accusations, but from subtle suggestions, quiet temptations, and so-called harmless compromises. The enemy does not only strike with axes, but with whispers. He knows how to make you question what you once held firm. to convince you that truth is no longer realistic. That spiritual firmness is outdated. But my child, in those blurred moments, remember this: there is no such thing as half-truth. Gradual compromise is one of the most dangerous tools darkness uses to blur the line between right and wrong. It doesn't arrive with thunder but with a breeze, appealing to misguided sympathy, justifying sin under the guise of kindness. The world will not demand that you abandon your faith outright. It only needs your silence for a moment, your overlooking of one thing, your agreement to just a portion, and from there, piece by piece, the foundation will erode. But my child, true faith cannot be diluted. It does not hide to be safe, nor does it reshape itself to gain approval. True faith chooses the narrow path, knowing few will walk it. It chooses purity, even at the cost of profitable offers. It chooses to stand alone, even if that means losing position, reputation, or familiar relationships. For what matters most is not what the world says about you, but what I will say to you on the final day. Imagine this: one day, all the lights of the world will go out. The praises that once intoxicated hearts will fall silent. The names once honored will mean nothing. Man-made moral standards will lose their meaning. Only one thing will remain: what I have spoken, the truth that never changes. Then, you will see the wisdom in choosing to do right when no one watched, to keep a pure heart when no one understood, and to obey me even when it cost you. As it is written, "He who endures to the end shall be saved." Matthew 24-13. This endurance is not passive suffering, but the active strength to hold the line, to not retreat, not waver, not yield. It is sacred courage forged through daily prayer, through every act of obedience, every choice to be silent when needed, and to speak when required. And I see you. I see every time you've said no and felt isolated for it. I see every silent tear when you were misunderstood for standing apart. I see every night you wrestled internally between ease and obedience. Not a moment of that journey is wasted. Not a single sacrifice for truth will be forgotten. You are storing up reward where moth and rust cannot destroy, where the voices of men no longer matter, where I, myself, will rise and call your name. I do not only want you to hold truth for yourself. I want you to become a refuge for other souls when the storm of deception rages. There will come a time when those who mocked you will return seeking counsel. Those who have lost their way will recall your consistency as a flicker of light in their night. And then, the quiet faithfulness you sow today will become the platform for many to find salvation. Yet remember, what sustains you is not your strength, but my grace. I am the one who will steady your feet when the ground shakes. I am the one who will remind your mind when logic is distorted. I will warm your soul when the cold of isolation sets in. You are not called to stand against the world on your own. You are called to lean on the one who has overcome the world. So do not fear when you feel small. Do not tremble when the majority takes a different path. I have never needed crowds to accomplish great things. One courageous soul, standing in truth, carrying fire from heaven, can shift the destiny of a nation. I've done it through Moses, through Esther, through Jonah, and through countless unnamed ones forgotten by history, but never forgotten by heaven. You do not need to be prominent. You only need to be willing to speak the truth even if your voice trembles, willing to reject what's wrong even at a cost, willing to stand alone, knowing you are not alone. For when you hold to truth, truth will hold you. When you stand for light, light will guide you. And when you do not yield, I will fight for you. In the end, my promise is not that you will always be welcomed, but that you will always be kept. Not that you will avoid hardship, but that I will not let you fall. And not that you will see your reward instantly, but that it is being prepared for you in an unshakable kingdom. So, my chosen one, keep walking, cling to the promise, uphold righteousness, stand on the unmovable foundation, and never let go of my word. For in due time, you will see the faithfulness you uphold today will become a tree of life for generations to come. O you who are called, there are roles assigned in silence and missions ordained in the wilderness. You are not an afterthought in my design, nor a reluctant choice. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before your first cry pierced the air, I had already called your name in eternity. Like Jeremiah, you have been set apart to be a voice in a generation paralyzed by compromise and deception. The world today does not lack voices, but it lacks voices that come from heaven. It is saturated with invitations, fashionable doctrines, and messages that soothe the flesh and excuse sin. But where is the one who dares to stand in the marketplace and speak truth, knowing they will be opposed? Where is the soul that dares to declare the Father's will when it does not please the crowd? Are you willing? My child, will you become a voice crying out in the wilderness, preparing the way for my coming? I do not seek mouths that merely echo what others have said. I am searching for lips touched by the burning coal from my altar. Just as Isaiah lamented his unclean lips and dwelled among a people of unclean lips until the angel touched him and said, "Your guilt is taken away, and your sin atoned for," Isaiah 6-7, so too am I preparing you, refining not only your actions but your thoughts, motives, and speech. For your words are not mere sound, they will become sacred instruments that pierce the very soul. The prophetic call is not a mantle of glory, but the burden of the Lord's heart. You will feel sorrows others do not sense, shed tears no one understands, and carry burdens that are not your own. This is not a weight of despair, but a participation in my heart. When I see a generation turning its back on truth, I do not respond with cold judgment, I ache. And when I seek someone to carry that ache, I choose you. Be courageous. Do not fear isolation. The prophetic voice always precedes the flow of society. It never conforms to it. You will be labeled outdated, rigid, ephemeral. But remember, Noah was mocked as he built an ark on dry land. Elijah was hunted for refusing to bow to idols. John the Baptist lived in the wilderness because he did not belong in palaces. And my son Jesus was nailed to a cross because he would not compromise. So if you are reviled for my name, rejoice, for great is your reward in heaven. Once you are sent, your words will carry weight from heaven, not because you are great, but because I will place my words in your mouth. You will not speak what pleases you, but what I appoint. At times it will be comfort to the brokenhearted. At times, a warning to the wayward. Sometimes, a whisper to a soul on the edge of surrender. And other times, a trumpet blast calling a people to collective repentance. In all things, know this: if you are faithful, your words will not return void. I will grant you vision beyond what the eye can see. You will not be confined by the present moment. but will discern the spiritual course behind unfolding events. What you feel may be misunderstood. What you see may not yet be confirmed. But do not doubt what I reveal. I did not choose you because you understand everything, but because you are willing to trust me even when you don't. Remember this: a prophetic message holds no value without a surrendered life. The one who speaks truth but lives in hypocrisy will dishonor my name. But the one who lives truthfully, even with few words, will shake the spiritual realm. Therefore, do not let your voice run ahead of your walk. Live what you preach. Let your life be the living testimony of my word. You do not need gimmicks to be heard. Let my presence be the proof. When you speak under true anointing, hearts will be moved. When you pray with brokenness, heaven's gates will open. And when you stand among the people with a pure heart, I will make you a vessel of my glory. Now is the time to step out from the shadows of hesitation and become a torchbearer in the midnight hour. Embrace the calling not in your own strength, but in faith in the one who called you. For it is I who will equip, anoint, and guide you daily. As you walk each step in obedience, you will see doors open that you never knocked on, and fields yield fruit that you never planted in your own strength. Beloved one, if you walk with me in obedience and purity, none of what I have promised will be delayed. I am gathering a generation of prophets, those unshackled by systems, untethered to fame, living solely for one purpose: to bring the light of truth into places overcome by lies. You are part of this army. Be strong and very courageous. Stand where I place you. Speak what I give you. Love as I love. In this hour, I am raising up mouths that will no longer be silent, people whose voices will shake both heaven and earth. And you, if you remain faithful, will witness what others have only dared to dream. Now, beloved child, I want you to understand something deeper. The mission you carry is never a solitary journey. Though you are trained in silence, though you may face seasons of isolation and misunderstanding, your part is bound to a greater vision. Across many lands, I am awakening other hearts, those who are listening, trembling, carrying a sacred fire that cannot be quenched. You are not alone. Silent warriors are rising. They are not upheld by media or hailed by crowds, but they have been crushed in my presence, and now rise with burning eyes and broken hearts for what breaks mine. They seek not fame, but only me, and I am knitting them together, each a piece of the heavenly tapestry I am weaving on earth. Alone, you can light up a room. Together, you can light up a city. Seek those with the same spiritual hunger. Listen for voices that reflect truth, not by trends, but by the living word. Identify souls once scorched by sorrow, yet still holding fast to faith. Gather not to build an empire, but to uphold one another in trial and unite in prayer. I desire for you to be part of a spiritual community not bound by form or tradition, but led by my Spirit. Remember, the early church did not begin in grand cathedrals, but in an upper room where people prayed with one accord. And from that place, ordinary men and women became bearers of my message to the ends of the earth. Even now, I am searching for upper rooms not lit by stage lights, but by pure hearts, places with no competition, only humility, places where the sigh of one becomes the cry of all, where the oil flows down Aaron's beard. As written in the Psalms, That is where I command life and blessing forevermore. Psalm 133. But true unity does not come from outward sameness, but from shared surrender to one master. You may meet those from different traditions or methods, but when their souls tremble for the same Lord, you will know they are your brothers and sisters. Learn to recognize by the Spirit, not by emotion. Let love break prejudice. Let truth unify diversity. And let the Spirit connect what man cannot. I am building an invisible network not by systems, but by covenant, not based on titles, but on genuine spiritual kinship. In this network, prayers will flow like rivers, praise will thunder like storms, and holy fire will be rekindled from many corners. When souls love one another more than position, love truth more than comfort, and love me more than life itself, then true revival will come. You may ask, who am I in a picture so vast? But I tell you, every part of the body is essential. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. Each person carries a unique gift, a distinct focus, but all serve the same body. Encourage others when they are used. Lift them when they fall. Let humility be your foundation. For those who humble themselves will be exalted. Matthew 23:12. My child, brokenness is not only taking place in individuals, it is occurring in my community. I am shaking all that can be shaken, so that what is unshakable may remain. Hebrews 12:27. Structures built on tradition without life will fall, but where there is true surrender, there will be stability. Where there is real love, there will be growth. And where there is unity in the Spirit, there I will reveal my glory. Keep your heart open to those I send your way. They may not fit your expectations. They may come from different backgrounds, carrying deep wounds or harsh experiences, but they will become pillars, your comrades in the battles ahead. When I gather them, welcome them with love and honor. Listen with discerning ears. See them through eyes of grace. You do not know what tomorrow holds. But if you walk with those who place me first, you will never walk alone. There is strength in unity. There is victory in connection. There is great heavenly outpouring when my people gather in prayer and reverence. In this era, I am not building a church structure, but a spiritual army, not to showcase, but to battle, not to stand above, but to kneel and wash each other's feet, not to be served, but to serve. You will see miracles among this community. The wounded will be healed. The disappointed will find hope. The lost will discover direction. And from among what may seem a small gathering, I will make my name echo to the ends of the earth. Therefore, my child, gather with those who carry the flame. Do not isolate yourself. Do not hesitate to reach out. Be the one who initiates unity, who builds bridges, not walls. Remember, where 2 or 3 gather in my name, I am there in their midst. And where I am present, no darkness can stand. Open the ears of your heart, for I am about to reveal great things to your soul. The night is thicker than ever, and the last rays on the horizon are heaven's final wake-up call to those who still hesitate. This is no time to delay, no time to waver between 2 paths. The present moment is a decisive hour, when every soul must choose where it stands. As darkness and light face their clearest divide, many believe they still have time to prepare, that the signs in heaven and earth are mere coincidences. But I say to you, these signs are no accident, nor are they the whims of fate. They are heaven's alarm bells, the final tremor before the door shuts. And you, my chosen one, cannot afford to slumber while events scream all around. Look around, and you will see clearly the foundations humanity trusted are cracking. Institutions once deemed untouchable are shaking. Economies, politics, societies, morality, all are entering a time of chaotic shift. But this is not to bring you fear, it is to awaken you to this truth. The kingdoms of this world are not eternal, and only my kingdom cannot be shaken. You must prepare not merely with outward actions, but with inner spiritual alertness. Like the 5 wise virgins, keep your lamp burning, not only holding oil in hand, but keeping your heart tender before me. The enemy does not fear pretty lamps. He fears lamps with fire. And you will keep that fire only by staying in vibrant relationship with me, the giver of life. In these last days, darkness will increase, but so will my glory, in a measure the world has never seen. Yet that glory will not fall randomly. It will rest upon those who have chosen to be refined, who have paid the price to remain faithful, and who are not seduced by the world's callings. My child, set aside time each day to listen to me in stillness. Do not let the noise around you dull your spiritual sensitivity. Do not let chaotic information drown out my whisper in your heart. I do not shout to be heard. I whisper to those who are willing to be still. And it is in that stillness that I will teach you how to walk steadily on the narrow path. There are things I am revealing to each person individually. Not all revelation comes from a stage. There are deep understandings reserved for those who seek me in the secret place. You will not find those divine instructions on the lips of the crowd, but in the quiet room where you pour out your heart before me. Shut the door, kneel down, and I will give you what the world cannot. Matthew 6:6. I have not called you to be a prophet to the nations, but I have invited you to be a light in the sphere where I have placed you. It may be your family, your workplace, your neighborhood, or simply a friend who is seeking the truth. Do not underestimate the impact of your presence. Sometimes, one word spoken under my guidance is enough to change the destiny of a soul. Know this, the shaking is not meant to destroy you, but to establish you on an unshakable foundation. I did not bring you into the storm to abandon you, but to train you into a sharp instrument in my hand. Do not resist the refining. Do not run from the fire. Let every trial become the soil that nourishes the roots of your faith deeper, stronger. When the wind rises, the shallow tree is uprooted, but the steadfast tree is the one that has learned to root itself deep, not merely on the surface. So, my child, do not live shallowly. Do not seek fleeting emotions, but dive deep into my word. Break up the fallow ground of your heart, and let the water of the Holy Spirit soften it daily. Your preparation does not begin when the crisis comes, but in the habits you keep each day: a steady prayer life, a mind renewed by the living word, a heart ready to forgive, and a lifestyle marked by simplicity, yet filled with spiritual power. You cannot withstand storms with fragile faith, and I do not desire you merely to survive, but to overcome. You may say, "How can I be strong in such a chaotic time?" But remember this, I am your strength. I do not require you to be enough. I simply need you to be willing. I chose you not because you were strong, but because I will make you strong. And it is in the moments you feel the weakest that my power will be most fully displayed. 2 Corinthians 12-9. You don't need to have all the answers, but you must have a heart ready to obey. Do not wait until everything is clear. Walk by faith, not by sight. Trust that my hand is guiding you, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. Watchfulness does not mean living in fear, but in awareness and trust. This is not a time to shrink back, but to move forward, not a time to hide out of fear, but to rise up with boldness fueled by hope. You are not called to dwell in darkness, but to shine in it, and your light will shine brighter as the night grows deeper. For what I have begun in you, I will bring to completion until the day my Son returns. My child, in the midst of this shaking, you are not a mere observer. You are appointed. I have not placed you where you live by accident. Your location, your home, your neighborhood, your city, even your nation is not a result of random chance. It is the land I have entrusted to you, a land filled with lives still unaware of the light, families decaying in silence, souls slipping into forgetfulness. And I have chosen you to be a watchman on that wall. You may not see yourself as an intercessor, but I say to you, an intercessor is not one ordained by a system, but awakened in the heart, one who carries burdens not just for themselves, but for a people, for a generation. And that burden does not come from books, but from nearness to me. When your heart aches at injustice, when your tears fall, not for yourself, but for a broken world, that is when my Spirit is calling you into intercession. Know this, spiritual transformation in any land always begins with prayer. Not politics, not systems, not force, but with the simple, persistent cries of a soul that refuses to let go of the throne of grace. Like Abraham pleaded for Sodom, like Moses stood between my wrath and Israel, like Esther fasted 3 days for her people, so too can you stand in the gap between judgment and mercy. You say, but I'm just one person. Yes, but one person can change a city. One person can move heaven. One person can make darkness tremble if they know who they are speaking to in the secret place. When you pray, I hear. When you cry, I remember. When you refuse to give up, I act. Never underestimate the power of silent prayers whispered in the midnight hour. I am searching for those willing to stand in the gap, not the most talented, but the most enduring, not the most eloquent, but those who wait patiently in the stillness. These may never be known by men, but heaven knows their names more clearly than any other. Their names are etched in my heart. They are the ones who shift the destinies of cities without ever leaving their prayer room. I want you to understand, what you are interceding for is not just the survival of a land, but its spiritual fruitfulness. I am preparing for a great harvest. Souls will be saved. Families will be restored. Those who once denied me will kneel. Places once barren will blossom with spiritual fruit, but it will not come suddenly, not overnight. It will come through the faithful watch of those willing to intercede with tears. So, my child, let the land where you stand become a place where faith arises. Do not pray only for personal comfort. Pray for collective redemption. Stand before me on behalf of those who do not yet know how to pray. Speak to me about those who are spiritually asleep. Cry out for the youth pulled into a decaying culture, for dispirited parents, for leaders who have lost direction. There are things that will never happen without intercession, not because I am powerless, but because I have chosen to work through those who will partner with me. I do nothing on earth without revealing it to my servants. The prophets, Amos 3-7. Likewise, I do not move in a land without first raising up those who will pray for it. And you are one of them. Start with the very place where you live. Walk your neighborhood and pray. Lay hands on your doorway and ask for peace to reign there. Pass by schools, hospitals, marketplaces, and let every step become a declaration of my lordship. You do not need to shout. True anointing is not found in volume, but in presence. When you walk with me, darkness must retreat. Learn the discipline of daily spiritual rhythms. Spend time with me before you speak to anyone else. Write down what I show you in stillness. Pray not only with your mouth, but with your life. Keep your heart clean so your prayers will not be hindered. And above all, keep your heart tender so that you may be led by mercy, not by anger. Do not seek immediate results. The intercessor does not live by fleeting emotions, but by faith in the one to whom they speak. A prayer today may bear fruit 10 years from now, but in the spirit realm, every seed of faith is recorded. Not one word falls to the ground in vain when spoken from a heart of sincerity and obedience. My child, I am placing into your hands a role of great consequence. Do not trade it for laziness, distraction, or doubt. Hold tightly to the weapon of intercession. Stand firm between life and death. And when the appointed time comes, you will see the land you wept for, prayed for, and persevered for will become a field golden with the harvest of God. My beloved child, as your journey draws near to its final chapter, I am not calling you to a life of ease. I am calling you to a life of purpose, one that may lead you through nights of walking alone in tears, through seasons where no one truly understands your heart, and through times when your faithfulness is tested in the fire. Yet in the midst of it all, there remains one unchanging truth. I am with you. I have seen every moment you chose to rise, even when everything in you urged to collapse. I have heard the prayers no one else knew, and I have stored every tear of yours in my bottle. Not one sacrifice has been in vain. Not one good deed has gone unnoticed. Though the world may never applaud, heaven is writing your story in ink that does not fade. You were not called merely to survive, but to overcome. I have not equipped you to shrink back in fear, but to walk in authority. Though the road ahead may yet hold trials, the reward I have prepared for you far outweighs them all. For you are living for a kingdom that cannot be shaken, an inheritance that does not fade, a reign that has no end. And I, the King of Glory, I am preparing to welcome you into the place I have made ready since before the dawn of time. Imagine that moment when you have passed through every night, every battle, every tear and every laugh, and finally stand before me. No more fear, no more striving, no more pain, only perfect fulfillment in my eternal presence. And in that moment, you will hear the words generations have longed to hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Ezra 1. This is no illusion or wishful dream. This is eternal truth. The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in you. And you will see, it was all worth it. Every stumble, every unanswered prayer, every time you chose obedience under pressure, Each of these was a jewel in the crown of righteousness I will place upon your head on the final day. But until that day comes, I am calling you to keep walking forward, not by your own strength, but by the power of my Spirit, not by earthly wisdom, but by revelation from above. Let love guide your every action. Let truth steady your every step. And let eternal hope uphold you when the weight of this life feels too heavy to bear. My child, I know there are moments when you feel weary. There may be days when you just want to stop, give up, or forget the calling you once received. But it is in those very moments that I draw closest. When you are weak, my power is made perfect. When you are lost, my light shines brightest. And when you feel as though all is lost, that is when I restore you with something even better. Believe this, I will never withdraw my promises. Though heaven and earth may pass away, my word will stand. I am the faithful God. What I have begun in you, I will complete until the day of Christ Jesus. I am not a man that I should lie, nor a son of man that I should change my mind. What I have promised, I will do. So, my child, do not draw back. Do not focus on the circumstances. Look to me. Do not let the noise of this world drown out my voice. Do not allow what is temporary to cloud what is eternal. Stay awake. Keep your heart tender, and never stop expecting miracles from me. For I am the one who does exceedingly beyond all you can ask or imagine. Just as the farmer waits for the harvest with patient hope, so too, continue to sow love, to sow hope, to sow truth. One day, you will reap in abundance, not because you are worthy, but because I am the rewarder of those who earnestly seek me. My beloved child, I do not only know your name, I know the deepest parts of your heart. And I love you not because of what you can do, but because of who you are. Nothing can separate you from my love, neither tribulation, nor distress, nor persecution, nor famine, nor danger, nor sword. In all these things, you are more than a conqueror through the one who loves you. And in the end, when you finish the race, when you breathe your last in the flesh and open your eyes in glory, I will be there, welcoming you with open arms, calling your name with a voice only your soul recognizes. And in that moment, you will know your life was never meaningless. Everything you did for me carries eternal weight. Walk on, my child. Keep your lamp burning. Keep watching. Keep loving. Keep trusting. For I am near, and my reward is with me. Be faithful until the end, and you will receive the crown of life. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and turn on notifications so we may continue receiving these living words together, building unshakable faith and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.